And welcome to another Coaches Weekly for this season of men's lacrosse. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network, here once again with head coach of the Cougar lacrosse team, Christopher Button. Coach Button, thanks for coming on again this week.
Another great week. Let's get it going.
Absolutely, and coming to this week, we're coming off that very first game of the season, this last Saturday, matchup against Earlham College, and good start for that game, first half, but it went from a 3-0 lead at halftime to a 9-3 loss after the second half happened. So coming off of that game, looking back on it, what do you think sort of caused that sort of downward fall in the second half?
Yeah, obviously, first half was probably the best they've played in the last couple of years. You know, we had a lead for almost 15, 16 minutes, and I think we went into the locker room, and we talked about it last week, the inexperience of a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these guys never played a college lacrosse game. So that's, first and foremost. And then now we're riding, the high, hey, we're great, this is awesome, the game's over, and unfortunately we had to play a whole second half. And we did not come out of the locker room. It just seemed that the mojo was kind of lost once the other team scored the other first goal. They scored a goal, kind of a scrum in the middle, kid picks up the ball, throws it in the goal, it's 3-1. We had an opportunity right there to, basically punch back or, fight back against them. We didn't really. They scored another one probably 45 seconds later, and then a couple minutes later they scored again to make it 3-3. And I think at that point, a lot of our guys were like, oh, this isn't as easy as the first half was. I need to, press a little harder here. And I think, we had opportunities at 3-3. We hit the goalie in the chest. We hit, and a doorstop save, going in a kick save to keep it at 3-3. And then we turn it over. They come down 4-3. And at that point, I think the sale, was gone. And guys really were like, now we're behind. We haven't been in this situation in the real game. What do we need to do to get out of that? And I think, it comes from the inexperienced, and leaving that game, a lot of guys we left plays on the field.
Yeah. So coming off that game, obviously there's a lot of things to see that went wrong that you could do better at. But what would you say was sort of the biggest positive takeaway you saw this last Saturday?
Both our goal scorers, Saba as well as, Henry Hayes, both scored their first career goals. Saba was a defenseman the last 2 years, and now he's playing offense. So, that's kind of a cool opportunity for him to score a goal in his first actual game. Yeah. And I think, that went really well. Again, we ran a system well in the first half. The other team made kind of adjustments. We kind of adjusted on the fly with that, and it kind of, we were out of sorts a little bit because we hadn't practiced a few things that they were doing. And that kind of changed. But, overall, I think the game plan in the first half was great. And like most teams in the country, if you only play one half, the records probably be better than they are now. And I think a lot of the momentum we had from that first half we carried into this week. We kind of took a step back after the game and we're like, what went well? What did we do well? There's no sense in dwelling on the loss. It comes, it goes, let's move on. There's nothing we can do. But what can we do for this coming game, against Anderson, which, is another competitive game for us. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things doing well. I do also think that the jitters got to a few kids.
Okay.
I think that was definitely a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you mentioned, you're bringing that positives from that first half into this week. So moving through practice this week, what have you guys been focusing on the most with this sort of section of practice?
I think the first, preseason leading up to this game, we did a lot of, easy, I wouldn't say easy, but, understandable drills where it's like, hey, we do these 5 drills every single day. We do these 5 drills the next day. And I think this week, my assistant and I kind of changed it up. Okay. So we did different drills. We did, we'd make the guys do, 20 minutes of conditioning and then 20 seconds of conditioning and then do a drill. Where in the past we would just do the drill. So I think it's just creating that more game-like experience and the hardships. If it's easy, everyone, can do it. There's great success there. But once you get kind of, struggling or, your back's against the wall, it's what do you react to do? And I think, we talked about last week is we got to build each week, each game to get better.
Yeah.
And this week, I feel like yesterday was one of our best practices the whole year. Guys were grinding, guys were hitting. When offense would score, the defense was like, why did they score? Where I think in the past it was kind of like, oh, they scored, let's move on to the next thing, And then when the offense wouldn't score, it was like, what did the defense do differently? It just seemed like there was a new energy yesterday, and I don't know if it's because it was just warm outside, which, it's a nice day today, so hopefully, we continue on. But I just think a lot of guys were more relaxed coming off of Saturday.
Okay.
It's not the first game. It's it's just a different mindset. Mm-hmm. So I think we're looking at a much better situation come Saturday.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of Saturday, like you mentioned earlier, matching up with Anderson University once again right here at Concordia, Chicago, and River Forest. And like you mentioned, it's another competitive game for you guys. So what is your goal for the team to achieve out on the field this Saturday?
I think, as we said, the best start in a game they've had in the last 2 years. I don't think they've led, we haven't led for that duration in the last 2 years. So I think for us is, getting that lead again, following the game plan, but then finishing through. A game is 60 minutes, not 30 minutes. And we want to play the whole 60 versus the whole 30. So I think that's kind of our mindset. That's what the goal has been. We've practiced a little bit longer. We've usually done an hour and a half practice. For this week, we've gone an hour and 45, an hour and 50 minutes. So just like changing a little thing, which may create a different mindset and might create a different atmosphere as a whole. But I think we watched film on Anderson yesterday because they had a game. We played Saturday, they played yesterday. So you're talking about 3-4 extra days rest for us, where they're today are recovering from yesterday's game. Yeah. And then they'll have 2 days of practice and then play us on Saturday. They're also traveling, which is a giant factor for us. We get to sleep in our own beds, have our normal breakfast, be in our own locker room. So I think, for us is just a full, complete game. And I think that's our mindset for, Saturday. And obviously, if we can get a lead, it's how do you keep that lead? Mm-hmm. A 3-goal lead, is a pretty big number. Obviously you want it 4, 5, 6, but, it's more than 2. So you're looking to, to keep that. So it's like if we do get a lead, say it's the fourth quarter, are we just going to hang our hat up with 10 minutes to go and say, hey, we've done our job, and then we lose by a goal? Or are we going to continue and get to that finish line? I think that's what we're preaching this week.
Absolutely. Well, like we mentioned, Cougars Lacrosse back in action this Saturday right here in River Forest at Concordia, Chicago, facing off with Anderson University. Coach Button, thanks for coming on once again this week.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And if you can't make it out to the game this Saturday, you can follow all the action on the Cougar Sports Network or get caught up with everything at cucougars.com. Make sure to join us next week for another Men's Lacrosse Coaches Weekly, and go Cougars. Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to Cougar Stadium this Saturday for Cougar Lacrosse. Cougars are out for their second game of the season, taking on Anderson University today, coming off of a 9-3 loss to Earlham College last week. I'm Jonathan Shear with Cougar Sports Network, here today with Troy Prattley as the Cougars get ready for their second game of the season. And like we mentioned, coming off of a 9-3 loss, Troy, where do you think the Cougars come from last week?
Well, the Cougars came off and had a good start to that game. They went ahead in that game 3-0 thanks to 2 early goals by Saba Miller, the junior. But it kind of fell off from there as Earlham went on a 9-0 run to close the rest of the game 9-3. So some halftime adjustments there by Earlham that got them the edge in that game. So we'll be looking to see the Cougars not only start off strong as they did last week, but continue that for the length of the game.
And, I mean, you mentioned it right there. That's what Coach Christopher Button's been driving into this team all week, is get that ability to, once we do get the chance to go up, we need to be able to close it out, because this team doesn't get ahead very often. They've had a really rough last couple years, and this last game was the longest period of time. It's the first time they've been leading at half in almost 2 years. So this is a team that has kind of had struggles getting to the point they were last week, but they were able to get there last week. And that's kind of the takeaway that he's also been driving into this team, is we just played a really good first half against Earlham. But like you mentioned, the Cougars, they need to find a way to finish that out. But coming in today against Anderson University, a team that's 1-1 on the season, kicked off their season with a win, followed up with a loss to Wabash earlier this week, 14-0. So this is also a team that's in a bit of an area where they're not really sure how good they are. Good win against Wilmington to start the season, but 14-0 shutout loss, never going to leave you feeling good heading into your next game.
Yeah, in Wabash is a good team. The team that Anderson lost to last year. Wabash beat Anderson 16-9. Anderson finished 7-5, and that game was in the opener. So, it's just like this year, you lose a tough opener to a good team, and then how do you bounce back? And last year they bounced back fairly well, and to get above 500 by 2 games, that's a good mark. And so for Anderson, you're 1-1 at this point, still looking to kind of settle in. You played really well, had a dominant win. You played not so well, had a fairly dominant loss. So it's kind of trying to find the balance somewhere in between there to get these games competitive. And so that's what we're going to look to see here today, Jonathan, a competitive game between the Ravens of Anderson University and the Cougars of Concordia, Chicago.
Like you mentioned, both these teams coming into today looking to bounce back, both teams coming off of losses. We'll run you through your starting lineups for both teams. For the visiting Anderson University Ravens, starting at goalie, it's number 34, Spencer Pruden. Your defensive line is going to be number 7, Justin Bemis, number 10, Bryce Johnson, and number 30, Mason Bratcher. In the midfield is number 6, Rick Kaufman. He leads the Ravens with 4 goals on the season. Number 11, Dallas Hermanson. Number 15, Kenny Bentley. And then your attackers for the Ravens, number 18, Robert Akugbo, and number 21, Will Harriman, alongside number 23, Lars Kiefer. Starting for the Cougars tonight, at goal, number 33, the junior, Peter Borkowski. Lining up on your defensive line is some of those freshmen for this Cougars team. Number 8, Benjamin Hardy. Number 26, Camden Mathias, and number 98, Zachary Lewandowski. Starting in the midfield for the Cougars, number 4, Dalton Baird, number 5, Saba Miller, number 10, Brady Dennis, and number 15, Lewis Mobley, alongside number 27, Dylan Kenny. And rounding out that starting lineup for the Cougars is number 50, Henry Hayes. Hayes, one of those 2 players for the Cougars to get a ball in the net last game, scoring his first career goal as a freshman. And you're going to see a lot of that out on the field as freshmen for this Cougars team. This is a very young team and a very inexperienced team. And that's one of the things that the Cougars have been working with. As there's a face-off, and Miller going to win it right off the bat. And he's driving down into attacking. There's Lechuga. Starting off the Cougars, trying to pass it around the edge as Hayes loses the ball right there. Now the Ravens with a very quick turnover here.
Some pretty good early pressure there by the Ravens up towards the 40-yard line, and now they're going to get a turnover. Nope. Yes. Nope.
Cougars defense struggling to get that ball cleared out as they're just batting that ball around down there, and eventually they will do so. Dylan Kenny dribbling the ball down the field with the stick. It'll go out of bounds. That'll be Ravens possession.
The Ravens and the Cougars have met one previous time. That was last year, March 4th, 2023. The Ravens were victorious 19-2 in that matchup in Anderson, Indiana.
And right there, a shot ripped from number 6, Rick Kaufman. Borkowski with the save. Now he's looking to get an option to start moving it out of there. As there is Kenny on the near side carrying it down the field. And you mentioned earlier on that first possession, very good pressure from this Ravens team. And from what it looks like so far, they like to play a high-pressure, high-intensity defense. And that's something coming off of last week is going to be new for the Cougars. Earlham a bit more relaxed zone defense, and for the Ravens, they are playing pressing on the Cougars very hard here as there's a shot spiked into the ground from Henry Hayes.
And each team's going to have kind of a different defensive philosophy, similar to basketball in that way. Maybe is do you go zone, do you go man, do you do a combination of both depending on the situation? And so typically teams are going to be prepared to play either both offensively and defensively, to face the zone or to be in the zone, to face the man, to be in the man.
And there's another shot from Gregory Scott into the game now for the Cougars. And that will be Cougars possession on the back line. And it appears that is a Cougar goal scored by number 98, Zachary Lewandowski. And the Cougars, they're up early, 1-0 over Anderson University as the defenseman, Zachary Lewandowski, brings the pressure.
A good start for the Cougars. Like we mentioned last week, this is something they've been used to so far early in the year, getting off to good starts. And in that first game, it was a 3-0 lead against Earlham. So we'll see if the Cougars can continue to build on this lead or if it will be Anderson striking back soon.
And I mentioned Lewandowski as defenseman, as that's what he's listed on the roster. It appears he's playing on offense for the Cougars, another sort of positional switch that they're trying out this season as they're throwing players all across the field, making adjustments, trying to find what works.
Yeah, first-year head coach and Christopher Button in a young squad. They only have 6 players on this team that are not freshmen, and so a lot of that is kind of coming in and figuring out, all right, what are we best at, and where do these pieces fit? And maybe it's not as easy as, oh, I'm a really good defenseman, I have to play defense. Well, maybe I'm also the second best, midfielder, and maybe the guy who's next best at defense is not as good as an attacker. And so it all kind of has to even itself out. And so as the season goes on and Coach Button gets a little bit more familiar with his squad and their capabilities, you'll kind of see that tone down a little bit, and players will fall kind of into the positions where they'll play the most of the year.
And so far, we have seen a lot of that. A lot of Cougars, for example, Saba Miller, last Saturday was his first game on the attacking end. He picked up 2 goals. So the Cougars very much working to adapt. As there's Gregory Scott with a shot low and into the net. And that's a 2-0 lead early for the Cougars as Gregory Scott rifles one in on the edge.
Yeah, and that was one of those, the pressure came up and kind of hit him around the 25-yard line, but he spun off and maintained possession of the ball and was able to rip that shot low right corner past the goalkeeper there.
That's a really nice shot. Like you mentioned, had a bit of a tough angle, was a bit of a ways out, had to make some moves around the defense. And this is a very strong start for a Cougars team, stronger than their start last week as they're up 2-0, only 3.5 minutes into the game. As Scott will head out of the game following his goal. As back into the game comes Saba Miller. Anderson wins that face-off. And they'll start to draw up an offense here. Rick Kaufman taking the lead up the top. There they go, rainbowing it around the back end of the goal. And now Bentley bringing in pressure. That's going to get passed all the way back out to Zimmerman once again. Zimmerman trying to find something, driving his way into the middle, and he'll chuck that one up and out back behind the goal. As he just tried to run through 3 or 4 Cougars right there, just wasn't able to get some clean footing or a good grip on the stick.
Yeah, that's a good job by the Cougars defense kind of collapsing as the offense attacked towards the middle, protecting Peter Borkowski, the junior goalkeeper.
As here comes Garcia looking for a way to get in. Can't find one. Now he'll pass it off to Kiefer. And the Ravens, they're doing a good job of passing around the perimeter here, but they just can't seem to find an opening to get into that Cougars defense. As there goes Kenny Bentley. Rips a shot saved by Peter Borkowski. And now Borkowski stepping out from the crease, looking for a way to get it out. And he'll clear that one up on the sideline. Andrew Lechuga's unable to secure it. And now he will do so. There's a scoop on the near sideline, but we'll have it knocked away. And he'll fall down and stop play. Cougars now going to have possession starting from the midfield. Saba Miller bringing it down for Concordia.
And folks wondering on that last contact there on the goalkeeper, Peter Borkowski, once he leaves the crease, the defender then has the right to make contact when the goalkeeper leaves the crease. While he's still in the crease with the ball, they cannot obstruct, they cannot make contact with the goalkeeper. But once he kind of steps out in the crease and he becomes, a regular player for that sake, then the defense is allowed to make contact.
Now Gregory Scott back into the game, moving around, but he's going to slip up on the near side and lose possession. Flag thrown. Cougar is going to be playing with advantage here as the ball is still loose around above the goal. Players in a scrum for it. And finally, the officials will blow the whistle to stop play. As the officials reset here. Cougars will have possession to start play once again. This is another very good opportunity for the Cougars to extend their lead early on. They've been very good at pressing the attack when they do have an offensive possession so far today.
Yeah, they have, and now you got a Raven in the box for the next few minutes here. We'll see if the Cougars can make a 3-0 lead, take advantage of this opportunity.
Bring it around the outside edge. It goes over to Gerber. As the Cougars work that perimeter, the Ravens playing a bit more of a loose defense, but a good interception right there from the defenseman, Lawrence Hedgenal. And he's going to bring it all the way down, coast to coast, before he lays it off around on the offensive third.
And this is interesting when you see teams that are down the man, how they attack offensively. A lot of times teams are just okay with, hey, we'll take our delay game in the shot clock, and we're going to use every last second of those 80 seconds to kind of waste time to not give the Cougars the advantage on the offensive end. And that's kind of what we're seeing right here as Will Harriman's going to control the ball back behind the goal. He's just going to be content taking up as much of this clock as possible, and now they're back on even, and so they're going to continue to attack now here with 30 seconds on the shot clock. So that was the strategy there by Anderson. Just hold the ball, let our guy get out of the box, and now let's play.
Now 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Here comes Kenny Bentley. Right up to in front of the goal right there. It's a loose ball. And that ball going to be knocked out. That'll be a Ravens possession.
They're going to get another 60 seconds here on the shot clock.
So the Ravens going to be able to create a play here. Going to be working around the outside. Harriman looking for an option to pass here. He'll launch it all the way back up to Bentley.
An interesting defensive strategy here. We've got Eli Frank up at the top 30-yard line, and he's kind of face guarding the Anderson attacker there. Can't tell exactly. Looks like number 6. Looks like Rick Kaufman, who we mentioned
and
earlier.
As you mentioned him, Rick Kaufman gets his first goal of the day. He led the Ravens coming in today. That's number 5 on the season for the midfielder and the star of this Ravens lacrosse team. As he chops that Cougar lead in half, it's now 2-1 Concordia.
And that was the strategy right there. Take away the Ravens' leading scorer. And now Eli Frank's going to head over to Coach Button to be instructed there. But that's the strategy. We'll see if that continues now, to just try and take away Kaufman out right from this game and see if the rest of the Ravens squad can put enough goals to win.
And Miller is going to win the face-off there. It's Gregory Scott winning the face-off, and now he's going to run it around in the middle, looking for a passing option here. He'll send that in to Lewandowski. That shot's going to be saved by Pruden. Now Pruden just chucks that one upfield, trying to clear it. Matthias unable to pick up the clear there, and the Ravens going to have a good opportunity for possession here. There you see Zimmerman on the far sideline. As there's going to be your first time out of the day, called by the Cougars. Head to a timeout. We'll take a short break here on Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back shortly for more Cougar Lacrosse. And welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. As we head into the remainder of the first quarter, Cougars lead 2-1 over the Anderson University Ravens. If you missed all the action on how we got here, you can catch up with everything at cucougars.com. But it's going to be a Ravens offensive possession here coming out of the timeout, with Rick Kaufman starting off with the ball as the Ravens look to draw even here. Now Kaufman working around the perimeter. The Ravens trying to create an opening. Now Bentley here on the near side looking for an option in. Not going to get one, and they'll start to pass it around the edge once more. Okugbo looking for an option, not going to get one. Still looking for an opening. That's going to get passed back once again. As there is a great shot from Kenny Bentley, rifling it in from 15 yards out into the near corner of the goal. And the Ravens do draw even. It's 2-2 now off of a great shot from Kenny Bentley.
And that's the kind of possession that the Ravens needed coming out of the timeout. A good use of the shot clock, used 60 seconds of it, maintained possession. Very few moments of scrambling there, seemed very much in control until they got a quality shot off. And even that shot was from 15 out, so a pretty lengthy shot, but still a good one, finding the bottom left corner of the goal.
And off the face-off, early jump from the Ravens is going to give the Cougars possession here. Like you mentioned on that last shot, 15-yard shot, tough one out, but that was a great instinct from Kenny Bentley. Instead of seeing an opening and trying to run himself up there, he saw the opening to take a shot from a ways out and got it to work for the Ravens. And that's early on, drawing even. You wiped out that early deficit. Now you can play from an even playing field. Saba Miller biding his time. Now he's going to try and press up here. And he'll get called for a foul, and that'll be a change of possession. Ravens now going to bring it downfield. Bratcher throws it into the middle to Okugbo. And this is the offense you're going to see from the Ravens. Bit of a slower offense, but they'll work it around the perimeter, bide their time, get the Cougars out of position until they have a good opening to make a run or take a shot. As here comes Kaufman. Lays it into the middle, and a good hit right there for number 27, Dylan Kenny, to break up possession for the Ravens as there's still a scrum in the middle of the field. And that's going to be a goal. Rick Kaufman picks up the loose ball and spikes that one into the net over the shoulder of Borkowski. And the Ravens have jumped out in front in a very short span of time. It's 3-2 Anderson. And that's really a play you don't want to have happen if you're the Cougars defense. You force the Ravens to lose possession. It's a loose ball in the middle of the field. And you really can't have that scenario where the ball gets loose and you have Rick Kaufman completely uncovered, able to pick it up and get an easy shot.
Yeah, a nifty shot it was, too. He elected for the bounce, and you could see Borkowski's stick kind of go down and then quick over the shoulder, but not quick enough, and it kind of just bounced, rolled right over his left shoulder. So that was Anderson's 5th shot on goal. Borkowski 2 saves, 3 goals against. Gives him a .400 percentage 10 minutes into this one. For Pruden, for Anderson, 2 goals against, 1 save at .333 10 minutes into this one.
And both of these teams' keepers not exactly locking up the net so far today, but it's really just going to come down to which team's getting more shots on goal. And for the last few minutes, Anderson University has just dialed up the pressure on offense here.
Yeah, and sometimes teams are able to gain an advantage similar to hockey in face-offs. And are you able to control the puck or able to control the ball early on in the possession? But so far we're even. Both teams have won 3 face-offs here, so that really not playing a factor so far.
And Zimmerman, good run bringing it in, but airmails that shot over the top of the net. And so the Ravens will have a reset of possession from behind the goal. Kaufman's going to send that one over to Harriman. And Harriman's shot blocked and saved by Peter Borkowski. And now the Cougars will work the ball back up the field.
It feels like it's been a while since we've seen a set possession for the Cougars and actually take up a fair amount of the shot clock. So we'll see if this is a good time for that right here as Lechuga goes bottom to top on your screen.
Into there, and Tyler Gerber unable to reel in that pass and get a shot off. So now the Cougars, they'll reset their play here on the perimeter.
That might have been the best action of the day for the Cougars there, as swing out wide, had a cutter through the middle, just unable to corral it. But had he been able to corral it, felt like what might have been an easy goal there.
And there's a long shot from Gregory Scott, goes wide left. Cougars going to reset possession here. That pass dropped by Kenny, able to corral it again. Gets a shot off, going to be blocked by Pruden. There's going to be a violation. Hand the ball back to the Cougars. Lewandowski starting with possession on the far side. Now Gregory Scott going to bring it down low on the far side. Going to carry it around the rear of the net. Looking for an option in, cuts back to the other side. Going to pass that one off. Blocked by Pruden once again. Pruden locking in on this possession. And Lewandowski unable to corral that pass. Now here's a great opportunity for the Ravens on the breakaway.
Going to get a 4-on-3 here.
It could go into Kaufman. Unable to get a shot on goal there. And that's a bit of a missed opportunity for Anderson right there. Harriman unable to get a good shot off on the pass. And now the Ravens going to have to restart possession with a full Cougars defense. Now Kugbo looking to take it in. Backs out and will lay that one back off to Garcia. Working down to the near side now are the Ravens as they're swinging around the back of the net. And that pass is airmailed out of bounds over the head of Okugbo. That's going to be a turnover to send it the Cougars' way. Haven't seen too many of those turnover mistakes from the Ravens, but that is somewhere that the Cougars do struggle at. That's the reason we had that bit of a gap for Cougar possessions, unable to keep the ball secure when they're attacking, but they did a good job of it last possession. They're going to look to do the same here.
Yeah, that was only Anderson's second turnover of the game compared to the Cougars' 4.
And right there, timeout going to be called once again. But, yeah, like you mentioned, Anderson, only their second turnover of the game, and that's that offensive style for both of these teams. The Cougars, they like to get a bit more amped up, a bit more aggressive and sort of quicker, a lot of more cuts inside, trying to get it inside as fast as you can on offense. Anderson, they are a lot more content with just passing that ball in a circle around the perimeter, just waiting for that opportunity for the Cougars to get out of position, looking for that hole to move the ball in closer to the net. And that's that offensive play style difference for both of these teams. But both teams' keepers, good performance in the last few minutes for them. Both keepers picking up a couple more saves. And that last defensive possession from Spencer Pruden was really, really good. 2 short, hard shots from the Cougars that he was able to not corral, but able to knock out and give the Ravens defense an opportunity to force the Cougars to reset possession once again, which really is all you can ask for from your keeper. As the teams head out of the timeout. Once more, the Ravens lead 3-2 off of 2 goals from Ryan Kaufman, who leads them on the day. But it'll be Cougars' possession to start off the last minute and 26 seconds of the first quarter. Lewandowski with possession on the far side. He'll look to bring it up top here. Gerber's trying to set a pick, but Lewandowski's going to have the ball knocked loose, and now we have a loose ball once again. Kenny able to scoop it on the far side now. Now Scott up at the top, looking for a way to go here. He'll swing it over to Hayes. Now Hayes swinging it around the back of the net. Cougars trying to create that hole here. Saba Miller cutting back inside. There's a loose ball going to be picked up by Dennis. And now the Ravens with an opportunity to bring it back out on defense. As there is a loose ball still on the Ravens' defensive third, but they'll eventually be able to clear it out. Now once again, they have an offensive attack, and it's a great opportunity here for Kiefer. In pass right there into Harriman, and Harriman able to finish the job, gets it past Borkowski, and the Ravens extend their lead to 4-2. Now and right there, just a personnel mismatch for the Cougars. You had Matthias, the defender for the Cougars, go up and try and intercept the pass over to Kiefer, and he overshot it, and that gives Kiefer a wide open side to just take as many time as needed. And the Cougars, you have fewer defenders than attackers. Open pass right into Harriman. Harriman, short shot. That's a really tough shot to block for any keeper.
Well, we've seen that a few times now where the lack of ability to control the ball on the Cougars' offensive end has led to a goal for Anderson, where they're now becoming fast breaks almost, if you will, and outnumbered. The Cougars are outnumbered in those situations, and that one right there was just a one-on-one with an attacker and a goalkeeper, and you're right, that is tough for anybody in that situation.
And right there, hard shot from Bentley off the top crossbar, ricochets out. But the Ravens still retain offensive possession here. Now Kugbo is going to lay that one in. Borkowski heads out, trying to edge that ball out of bounds. And as the clock expires, that'll do it on the first quarter. Strong start for the Cougars, put them ahead 2-0, but the Ravens have gone on a run. It's 4-2 Anderson University as we head out of the first quarter here. We'll be back for the second quarter as the Cougars try to claw back into this game. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Nation, we love the support you give us on and off the field. To donate to our athletic communications department, hit the thank button. This helps us continue to have the best live stream possible for some great Cougars lacrosse moments. Thank you and enjoy the game.
And welcome back to Cougar Stadium here on the Cougar Sports Network as we get ready to go for the second quarter of lacrosse action between the Concordia University Chicago Cougars and the Anderson University Ravens. The Ravens lead 4-2 after a strong resurgence in the back half of the first quarter. If you missed that action, want to get caught up on everything, you can get all the information on cucougars.com. As we get ready for the opening face-off here in the second quarter, and the Ravens will take possession after a good face-off right there from Kenny Bentley. Now Rick Kaufman charging up the field here. And the Ravens going to work their perimeter offense once again. Swinging around the backside of the net through Harriman to Okugbo. Garcia now at the top. Looking for a path here. He'll swing that one back behind the net to Harriman once again. Flag out advantage here for the Ravens. There's a pass into the net. And a hit from Ben Hardy's going to get flagged right there. Got a lot of laundry out on the field here, and the Cougars are going to have to face some consequences.
Well, while we wait for that, let's recap the first quarter action. It was Anderson with 13 shots, 8 of them on goal, 3 saves, 5 faceoffs, 1 and 2 turnovers. For the Cougars, 8 shots, 5 on goal, 4 saves, 3 faceoffs, 1 and 5 total turnovers. Some goalie statistics. It's Pruden with 2 goals against, 3 saves, sitting at .600. Borkowski 4 apiece in goals given up and saves, sitting at .500.
So the Cougars going to have to deal with a penalty here as Ben Hardy heads off into the box. And, you know, there's a bit of that consequence of a young, inexperienced team. Ben Hardy, freshman with minimal lacrosse experience coming into the game as a football player here at CUC. And you got a bit of that football mentality right there. Good big hit from behind to stop a shot, but it's not legal in lacrosse, and it's not the option you want to take at that time.
So the Cougars are actually playing 2 down here. Also in the box is 15, Louis Mobley, another 2-sport athlete, football player, lacrosse player here at CUC as well. So now we're going to see a little 6-on-4 action here for the time remaining.
And you see how that defensive formation is playing out for the Cougars. Very tight in on the goal, just trying to protect Borkowski as much as they can. But you mentioned right there, we have 2 football players playing lacrosse in the box for the Cougars, and that's something that Coach Christopher Button understands, and he's actually using it to try and help coach this team. That's what he said. These guys, they understand football, so he's going to try and relate football to lacrosse for them, and he's going to try to use that to help them understand how to play this game and improve their lacrosse skills. As there's a long pass in, here's an opportunity for Tyler Gerber. Great save from Spencer Pruden right there on the one-on-one. And the Ravens defense will take possession after a great opportunity is missed for the Cougars.
There's a good change up there by Borkowski to just let that one fly, see what happens. Kind of also in the same time take some time off that clock of the penalty and kind of get that ball out past midfield, see what happens. And it was a good look there for the Cougars. So you kind of did the same strategy there, but they're unable to retain possession.
As now the Ravens able to work their offense. And the Cougars getting back to full personnel here.
So good job there by the Cougars working down 2 there to now be settled.
And Okugbo tries to spike that one across the net. No good. Borkowski saves that one as well. Now the Cougars going to have a chance here as Hayes brings that one up the far side. He's going to keep going. Passes it in to Gerber. And we're going to have a timeout called once again. Anderson still leads 4-2, but the Cougars, they're getting opportunities, and they're trying to press the advantage here midway through the second quarter. We'll take a very short break here once again, but we'll be back for some more lacrosse action shortly.
Nation! Interested in finding out more about Concordia Chicago? Head to cuchicago.edu for more information on our university.
We appreciate you tuning in to today's game.
And we hope to see you at CUC very soon.
And a welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network for Cougars Lacrosse. As the Cougars are pressing the offensive advantage here coming out of a timeout. It's 4-2 Anderson University Ravens here with 12 minutes and 23 seconds left in the second quarter. But the Cougars looking to shrink that gap right here. Now have an opportunity to do so. Now we Tyler Gerber starting out with possession on the far side. And that first pass going to be dropped by Gregory Scott. He's able to scoop it. So the Cougars still going to retain offensive possession, but the plan's already gone awry. Scott trying to reset here. Trying to find an option to pass to, and he's just going to keep getting backed and backed and backed up.
This is some of the early pressure that we saw at the beginning of the game, way out past the 30 and 40.
But Scott able to beat that pressure and get a shot off. Pruden able to smother that one at the edge of the crease. And now Zimmerman charging down the field. That one is going to ricochet off of Kiefer, and Borkowski is going to be able to clear that one out.
Close there to being contact inside the crease. Hard to tell from this far away exactly.
Henry Hayes rifles a shot right there, and that'll ricochet back and out of bounds. So the Cougars, they'll retain possession here.
And they'll get 60 back on the clock here to work it. Well, a busy day for Cougar Athletics, Jonathan. The women's and men's track and field NAC Indoor Championships Day 2 in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. We've got lacrosse here versus Anderson right now. This afternoon we'll have men's volleyball versus Lakeland University, and then rounding out the night in Southern Illinois, it'll be baseball versus North Park University. So head to www.cucougars for information and updates on all of those events today.
As right there, Cougars able to get a loose ball around the goal, but unable to do anything with it, and a hit from Zachary Lewandowski is going to get flagged right there. So the Ravens going to work with advantage here as that flag will stay down on the field. Now here's Harriman. He'll bide his time and allow the Ravens offense to set up. As you see some substitutions for both teams on the far side there. Now it's going to be Kaufman carrying the ball around the far side, looking for a way to work in. Once again, being covered by Eli Frank here is Kaufman. Is now Kugbo trying to work it around the backside of the net.
Now we're going to get that delayed penalty here. It'll be Lewandowski to the box.
And the Cougars now 3 penalties on the day so far. And Anderson only 1. This Cougar team, they like to, not really like to, but they tend to penalize other teams a lot. They are a very aggressive and a very physical team.
That's something we talked about in pregame is the Cougars came into this matchup second in the conference, just behind Edgewood in penalties per game at 5. So already on their way to meet that mark here this afternoon, and could be by the end of this one be first in the conference in penalties per game, which not necessarily a statistic that you want to be leading in, although sometimes it can work to your favor, as you were mentioning earlier, knowing that sometimes there's a balance between being physical and being reckless. And so you kind of want to, sometimes the best teams are right on that line where almost like teams fear you because they know that, all right, if I take this right down the lane, chances are pretty good I'm going to get popped here. So, sometimes that can cause some hesitancy on both the offensive and defensive end. So, if that's the goal of the Cougars to kind of be, that's their style of play, that's their game plan, that very well could be.
And that's exactly what they've done. I mean, two of your freshman defenders in Ben Hardy and Camden Mathias, neither of them very experienced with lacrosse, but they're both big guys, and that's what they're back there for on defense. They're there to be a kind of bruiser for this Cougars defense. But now the Cougars offense going to get an opportunity here to do something after another save from Peter Borkowski. Henry Hayes swings that one over to Saba Miller. Miller back into the middle of the field. Hayes unable to secure possession. And now it's a loose ball still. Hayes bringing that ball out to the edge, trying to get possession here still. And he'll get tripped there by Mason Bratcher. So the Cougars will be granted possession here. So now Hayes an opportunity to start working a play here for the Cougars, and they're going to hold the ball on the perimeter, work it around the edge. They're back to a full offense. Scott swings that one over to Lashuga. Now Lashuga charging in, rips a shot off the ground and deflected by Pruden. Now the Cougars will keep up the pressure here. That ball go out of bounds, and the Ravens will have possession and the opportunity to work it back up the field. 7:50 remaining here in the second quarter in the first half. Both teams yet to score here in the second quarter. Goffman swings that one over to Zimmerman. Will swing that one down in an attempt to swing it down to Lars Kiefer, but it'll head out of bounds. That'll be Cougars ball. And you still have those piles of snow along the near side here. Some in the end zones, acting as a bit of a fence. Borkowski able to send that one upfield.
I would say the snow, not something necessarily that we were at least mentally prepared for waking up. Started to come down a little bit later last night, but we were wearing shorts. It was 50 degrees the last couple days, and now we've got snow, and they say it's supposed to be back into the 50s within the next few days as well. So kind of a brief, hey, here's some more snow, and then it'll disappear here soon, it sounds like.
And I guarantee you there were a couple groans from this lacrosse team realizing the one day with a freezing morning is going to be the day that they're playing lacrosse at 12 p.m., but they're out here anyways, and only trailing by 2 here with 6:40 remaining in the second quarter.
Yeah, sometimes that cold, especially in a physical game like lacrosse, can be a difference maker, but with two teams like this, both majority of their rosters from northern states. Now there are a pair of Floridas on each roster, California for the Cougars, but both these schools in the Midwest, used to the snow, used to playing. I mean, their early spring practices were out in the snow and the cold to begin the season as well. So not something that they're not used to, but typically many given the choice would choose not to play in the snow and cold.
Well, we are back above freezing, so weather warming up here as this game goes on. Cougars unable to do anything before shot clock expired on that last possession, but they'll take it right back after an errant pass from the Ravens. It'll be Gregory Scott driving possession here for CUC. Scott on the near side, cuts inside, rifles a shot off, and that'll go wide left. It'll be smothered by Pruden, and now he'll look for a way to work it out.
There's another quick possession there by the Cougars, and something we've talked about continuously. The Ravens seem to be content taking up a lot of the shot clock. Not so much the Cougars. They're quick strikes.
Yeah, it was one man with that possession. Gregory Scott brought the ball back, saw his opportunity, got in there, tried to make the most of it, switching to the left hand to rifle that shot off, but nothing doing, as that'll bring us to the second timeout of the quarter here. Cougars still trail 4-2, and we're almost 10 minutes into this quarter. Neither team yet to score, but that's not for a lack of shots taken.
Yeah, for sure. We're up to The shot count, Anderson 21, the Cougars 15, 12 on goal for Anderson, 9 for the Cougars, 7 saves, 8 for the Cougars.
And there was a point early on in this game where both keepers had allowed more goals than they had saves. And after the start to this quarter, both of them have improved a lot there. It's 7 saves to 2 goals allowed for Pruden, 8 saves to 4 goals allowed for Borkowski. Borkowski's at a .667 save percentage. Pruden, 778. And that's something where both teams are going to be happy knowing that you do have some security on the defensive end right at the net. But the problem for both teams is that there's no offensive production coming on the other side of that.
Yeah, pretty similar stat lines all in all for the two keepers so far this afternoon. But, yeah, you mentioned it kind of we've gone stagnant here over the last 10 minutes or so in terms of goal production. But shots still coming, just not a ton of great looks. And maybe that is a testament to controlling the ball more. I'm not sure. I mean, turnovers are still pretty high, 8 and 5 apiece, Concordia, Anderson, respectively. So, still turning the ball over, just not a ton of action in the back of the net.
But as this game's going to go on, as shots going to continue to get taken, at some point you're going to see those balls get to the back of the net. Just going to depend on which team can accomplish that first. For Anderson, they'd love to extend their lead, but for the Cougars, a team that still looking for that first win of the season would love to get back into this game. As the teams come out of the timeout, it'll be the Ravens with possession to start off here. And they'll work their perimeter offense once again. Rick Kaufman at the top here. Looking for an option. He'll swing that one back over to Bentley. Far side, Ravens working it around the back of the net. As there's Bentley. Gets a shot off, saved by Borkowski. There's some laundry out on the field now. And that's going to go against Ben Hardy, picking up his second penalty of the day. He'll head to the box once more. Ravens will retain the possession, and there'll be a man up on CUC now. And that is one thing for Ben Hardy's penalties so far. He's committed them, but they still haven't led to goals for the Ravens, so not as bad as it could be for the Cougars.
The NAC conference yet to open any conference play so far. So of the 9 teams with men's lacrosse in the NAC, still 0-0 in the standings, 1 through 9. Concordia, Wisconsin currently has a 2-0 overall record. For those unfamiliar, the top 4 teams will make the NAC conference tournament, the winner getting an automatic bid to the national tournament.
And the Cougars' clearance right there, swiped out of the air by the Ravens, and Zimmerman rifles that one in right past Borkowski for a goal. First of the quarter for either team, and the Ravens extend their lead to 5-2 over the Cougars. And that one right now, really quick possession for the Ravens, and that worked in their favor. Long, just random pass from the Cougars to get the ball to the offensive half. Didn't work out the way the Cougars wanted, and the Ravens make the most of it. It's now a 3-goal lead for Anderson University, and the Cougars going to have to work from a bit further behind as Saba Miller heads out for the face-off.
Yeah, now just over 4 minutes to go here in the second quarter. You'd like to see at least one more goal here from the Cougars to kind of sway some momentum back in their favor before they head into the locker room for the half. And sometimes that's just the biggest thing, is you just need the momentum back on your side. And so even though, if they were able to pick up a goal, they'd still be down 2. But sometimes just getting that momentum is all you need. Come in the locker room, say, hey, we got this. We've got it in the bag. We just got to go out there and do it.
Garcia bringing it around the top here for the Ravens. Oh, and pass going to be dropped there by Harriman. Cougars defense trying to pick it up and clear that one out. But now Kugbo able to pick it up. His pass is going to go off wild. Henry Hayes chasing that one down, shielding it out of bounds. And possession will go the way of the Cougar. Hayes, quick to jump off the resumption of play right there, bringing it down the near side of the field. Cradling the ball, trying to cut inside now. And he'll bring it back up top now. Still looking for a path here. He'll swing that one to the back to Scott. Scott bringing it around the near right side, looking for an option, spikes that one in close, trying to get it to Lewandowski, but it's off the mark, and it'll be picked up by Pruden.
Now under 3 to go. Ravens will have a full 80-second if they can possess it, but they cannot.
Yeah, and I mean, turnover has been a bit of an issue for both teams, more so for the Cougars, but the Ravens now up to 7 turnovers themselves. They haven't been able to keep the ball secure either, and that's really come into effect in this quarter for both teams so far. Neither able to get a sustained offensive production going. Saba Miller charging in, rifles a shot right past Pruden, and Saba Miller gets the Cougars back up on the board. It's now 5-3 as Saba Miller picks up his first goal of the day.
Yes, third of the season. That was a good job, just kind of using his body, kind of forcefully push himself inside the 20, right around the 15-yard line, create some space, and take a shot. Top left corner.
And that's another thing that the Cougars have been working on this week on offense is aiming their shots rather than just throwing it at the goal. And right there, Miller had that split second to take some time to set up his accuracy, and he did it perfectly, finding the hole where Pruden would have trouble getting to it. And you mentioned some momentum. That's a bit of momentum for the Cougars here, but the Ravens quickly looking to silence that. Good save from Borkowski right there. But the Ravens going to get it into the net anyways. And they're going to silence the momentum shift to the Cougars very quickly here. As there's some laundry out on the field and a Ravens player still down. That's Kenny Bentley down on the field. Penalty going to go against number 15. Louis Mobley. And we'll take a short break here on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment for some more Cougars lacrosse. And welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network as we come off of that short break. Kenny Bentley looks to be okay, just trying to get himself warmed back up off on the sideline. But the Ravens, they're looking up as they respond to the Cougars within 30 seconds with a goal from Robert Akugbo.
And that was one way to take the momentum right back for the Ravens. It was something we talked about the Cougars needed. They got it there, but not for very long. The Ravens able to snatch it right out of the paws of the Cougars.
And now the Ravens going to have an extra man here, but they're going to pick up a penalty of their own very quickly. Abram Zimmerman taking down Gregory Scott from behind. And so both teams even men here.
It's very possible it could be a little bit of a retaliation thing there, kind of first opportunity to get it back. The Cougars have had multiple penalties here so far, and that could just be the Ravens being like, hey, we're here too. We're going to be physical.
Now Scott quickly bringing it into the middle. He's going to rifle a long shot wide left of the net. As whistle will be blown, we're going to have a bit of an official meeting here. Not sure what they'll be discussing. As of now, it looks like it'll be Cougar possession.
You're going to reset the shot clock to 80.
So the Cougar is going to have 80 seconds here to workshop something. 2 minutes left in the first half. It'll be Scott starting with possession on the top of the far side of the field. Him and Hayes switching positioning. Scott slowly bringing it up here. Looking for an opportunity around the perimeter. Thought about slinging it back over to Hayes. Get a bit closer. He'll keep it himself after faking the handoff. Now on the far side of the perimeter, he'll pass that one into Gerber. Gerber trying to get around Bratcher here. He'll cut back left. Swing it back to Scott. Scott back over to Gerber. Gerber going to rifle a shot. That's going to be blocked and caught by Pruden. Good save from the keeper right there. Now the Ravens, they'll have possession here in a full 80 seconds. They could close the half if they wanted to.
Got about a 3-second difference between the shot clock and the play clock here. And it appears as if the Ravens are going to elect to just take this whole clock.
Now Kiefer swinging around to the backside. Now Kugbo looking for an opportunity, rifles a shot, saved by Borkowski. Rebound saved again by Borkowski. And the Cougars, they'll take possession here. Might have an opportunity for a breakaway. And it'll be Cougars possession as Robert Akugbo swiped at the arms of Gregory Scott. Now Scott trying to quickly bring it down on offense here. Under 30 seconds to go in the second quarter. Scott trying to find a way in. Ravens bringing that high pressure on defense. Scott going to sling it back over to Dennis. And that'll head out of bounds. It'll be Ravens possession with 13 seconds to go. It's slung downfield. Ravens opportunity, last opportunity here with Rick Kaufman holding possession. He'll pass that one in. Shot there from Harriman goes wide right of the goal. And that'll pretty much, and that will bring us to the end of the half as that last half second expires. And as we head to halftime, it's 6-3 Ravens over Cougars. Both teams both teams scoring once again. However, the Ravens outdo the Cougars 2 in the second quarter to the Cougars 1. Cougars trail by 3 as they head into the locker room. They'll look to make some adjustments and come out of the locker room. Well, the Ravens, they'll take a break and look and figure out how they can secure the victory in the second half. We here at the Cougar Sports Network will take a break, and we'll be back for the remainder of the game for some more Cougars lacrosse.
Tuning into today's game. To stay up to date with all things CUC men's lacrosse, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CU Chicago Lax. We'll see you on campus soon.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces: a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
And chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall. So the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there. Concordia Hall at Concordia University, Chicago.
Concordia University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
ready to go. Welcome back, Cougar Nation, to Cougar Stadium for some more Cougar Lacrosse. Concordia trails the Anderson University Ravens 6-3 coming into the second half after a competitive first half where both teams got some good opportunities and had some good shots on goal, but the Ravens just able to have a bit more of a sustained offensive presence than the Cougars so far, and a lot of that is going to come down to your turnovers.
That's right, Jonathan. Anderson only has 7 turnovers, which rather high, but still not considerably when you consider 11 by the Cougars. And so 11 turnovers, only 18 shots for the Cougars compared to 30 for Anderson. And that's kind of the two biggest reasons why we sit 6-3 as we do right now, ready for half number 2.
As play is underway, the Ravens will start off with possession, winning the face-off, and they'll work it around the perimeter once again. Borkowski starting the half for the Cougars, 14 goals, 14 saves in the first half, which is a good number for the keeper. 6 goals allowed, but he faced quite a few shots in that first half. As Zimmerman will continue working it around the outside perimeter. Bringing it inside is Jordan Garcia. Still looking for a way in. Charging along the near side, try and spike it. And that'll be blocked by Hardy. Violation, and the Ravens will keep possession.
Ravens will get 60 seconds here on the clock.
Okugbo swinging that one around the outside, and this is that Ravens offense. They love to work that perimeter, pass it in a arc until you get a good opportunity. Now Kaufman thinks he has one here, trying to find his way in. Instead, he'll swing that one across. Some good defense right there from Louis Mobley to knock that one away. And the Ravens, they'll maintain possession, but they'll have to restart their offense here. Kaufman working around the outside, and Kaufman, the star player of this Ravens team, but the Cougars have done a good job of limiting his opportunities so far today. Is right there, Borkowski with a pair of saves actually right there. Blocking the initial shot and the ricochet. And the Cougars have an opportunity to get an offensive possession here as Hayes carries that one down the far side, facing a lot of pressure, and he'll just have to sling that one away. Loose ball going to be picked up by Pruden, but Hayes just unable to get an opportunity to get away from a mob of defenders.
For those interested in Northern Athletics, the schedule today, all the teams are in action. We've got Anderson here at CUC. Milwaukee School of Engineering faces Northwestern St. Paul, CU-Dub at Hanover, Cornell at Illinois Tech, Beloit at Lake Forest, Dubuque at Aurora, and then rounding out the action this afternoon is North Central at Benedictine at 4 p.m. So head over to nacsports.org to keep up to date with all Northern Athletics, Collegiate Conference, lacrosse the rest of the season.
And there's an opportunity. Okugbo spikes that one over the net. And the Ravens will maintain possession. Just over 30 seconds remaining on the shot clock here. And that ball will get knocked loose. And the Cougars will take possession. Opportunity to get their first sustained offensive opportunity of the half for CUC here. Gerber tries to pass that one up to Scott. It hits the deck, but Scott so able to pick it up. They'll work it around the back side of the net. And they'll call a violation. That'll be a Ravens possession here. And the Cougars another turnover, and that's going to be a killer one. Your first opportunity to get a sustained possession of the half, and you lose it on a violation on the back corner.
And both teams with a turnover apiece here in the first 3 minutes of the second half. And you're right, not exactly what you're hoping for the Cougars, and we've talked about it already a few times. Quick possessions ending in shots most of the first half, but A couple quick possessions here, one ending in turnover. Not a ton of great looks so far here for the Cougars.
So the Ravens working around the perimeter here. Well, you mentioned the Cougars have done a good job of limiting Rick Kaufman. 2 goals on the day, still leads the Ravens, but he hasn't gotten as many shots as he would like to get. He's only taken 5 shots on the day. Both Harriman and Akugbo have more shots than him for the Ravens, so the Cougars limiting the damage that could be done by Kaufman, as right there, Kenny Bentley swings it around the edge and right through the legs of Peter Borkowski to pick up his first goal of the half. It's now 7-3 Ravens.
And he paid the price. When he got that one off, it was Camden Mathias that laid the boom, but able to sneak that one right past Borkowski here. And it's the Ravens going to add to their lead here now, a 4-goal lead early in this third quarter.
And so the Ravens able to sustain their offense for the first 4 minutes of the half, finally get one to go. As out for the face-off, it'll be Abram Zimmerman and Saba Miller. And they continue to scrum for it, and it'll be Zimmerman to come out on top. Maryland to the near side is Yingst. Now Kiefer working to the middle of the field. Ravens once again working that perimeter to try and get it into the middle. Cougars playing that zone defense once still. Now Zimmerman going to try and charge up the middle here. Trying to force his way in. Gets a shot off. Blocked by Borkowski. Flag down on the field. Was going to be advantage Anderson. Now going to be a penalty on the Cougs. And it looks like that one will go against Henry Hayes. He'll head off into the box. Hayes picking up his first penalty of the day. So it's going to be an extra man opportunity on offense here for the Ravens. Looking to extend their lead once more in this quarter. They'll start by working around the perimeter once again. Concordia tightening up that defense around the net. Quick passes around the edge here for Anderson. Now Bentley trying to bring it in. Low shot there from Harriman. Going to be a turnover there. Saved by, going to be a turnover there. Not sure if that was a save by Borkowski, but it'll be possession Cougars. Now have the opportunity to work it out from the defensive third here. Good move from Borkowski, and he's going to bring it up a bit of a ways here. Borkowski, keeper who's quite fond of carrying the ball himself.
It is something he likes to do. You see it often. There's multiple times last season where he would be all the way down at the opposing goal.
And right there, Cougars lose possession as they try to bring it down the near sideline. Good offensive opportunity here for Anderson. Now Harriman slowing down possession here on the near side.
And as a keeper, when you bring it out, it's just something you got to be mindful of, that when you do end up getting rid of the ball, that it lands safely in your team's hands, because a quick turnover there, leaving an empty net, depending on how far away you are from your own goal, leaving that much space for empty net is less than ideal. So nothing wrong with taking it outside the crease if you're the goalie. You just got to make sure that you're careful with the ball when you do it.
I actually had Borkowski get a shot off last week against Earlham. Here's a shot from Saba Miller. That one will go wide. Cougars retaining possession here. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. And Dennis loses possession there. Pruden will secure it, and now he'll work it out from the defensive third for the Ravens. Hayes playing some aggressive defense on the far side, and he'll get flagged for the second time this quarter. Just absolutely hammering with that stick on Mason Bratcher.
Could be some frustration fouls as well. Things not going the Cougars' way so far this afternoon. Sometimes that boils over in terms of physicality, but you just never want to cross that line where, you know, you're putting your team at risk to go down even further. Because even a 4-goal separation right now is not too bad. Certainly able to come back from that if you're the Cougars. So you just got to be smart here and play good, clean lacrosse and inch your way back into this 1 goal at a time.
Now the Cougars almost had the opportunity to take possession on defense. There's another flag on the field. Gonna be possession advantage for the Ravens as that shot will go off. Now that will have that penalty applied. It will go against Camden Mathias. I mean, you want to talk about frustration fouls. That's one right there. Mathias had possession, had it knocked away, got stuck in a mob, and didn't catch who it was that he knocked down, but just knocked down one of the Ravens. And that's going to be another extra man opportunity for the Ravens just as Hayes comes out of the box.
And you can see Coach Christopher Button not happy about that one. Follows Mathias all the way into the box there.
And that'll bring us to our first timeout of the second half. So as the teams take a break, so will we here at the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back shortly for more men's lacrosse.
Interested in finding out more about Concordia Chicago?
Head to cuchicago.edu for more information on our university.
We appreciate you tuning in to today's game.
And we hope to see you at CUC very soon.
And welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. And for some more men's lacrosse action here in the second half at Cougar Stadium, the Anderson University Ravens lead 7-3 over the Concordia University Chicago Cougars with 7:48 remaining here in the third quarter. And it's going to be Ravens possession here with another attacking opportunity for Anderson.
The Ravens are just one shot shy now of doubling up the Cougars. It's 37-19 total right now. They've already well past doubled the Cougars in shots on goal. So the pressure just keeps coming.
And it's all about that sustained offensive possession. That's something the Ravens are much better at than the Cougars. But there's a very good save from Borkowski right there. That's his 19th of the day. And he'll sling that one well downfield. That one will bounce right up next to the crease and be picked up by Pruden. Pruden's going to bring it out a bit himself down the near side. He'll sling it over to Bratcher. Now Bratcher brings it onto the offensive side. There's a very late flag thrown right there.
It's going to be Miller for crossing the 50 there.
Shot ripped from Abram Zimmerman right there. As Miller will head over to the box, and now the Cougars have a pair of men in the penalty box here, as Matthias is yet to come out from his penalty. So an even better extra man opportunity here for the Ravens as they retain offensive possession. And we do have a bit of a stick change here. Eli Frank changing out sticks with the sideline.
So this will be our second 6-on-4 of the day. It won't be too long. Matthias will come out here shortly. But as we speak, 6-4.
Turns into a goal. Right there, that's going to be Gabe Inkst. Gets right up short, spikes that one into the net, right past the legs of Peter Borkowski. And the Ravens extend their lead. It's 8-3, Anderson University over the Concordia University Chicago Cougars here in the second half. As out of the box will come Saba Miller. Is no longer held there by a penalty. And looking at Cameron Mathias, going to assume that that is a locked penalty. He can't leave the box after the goal now. Miller now back in place. Still an extra man here, though, for the Ravens, and they're going to press that advantage right up to the net. Good save from Borkowski right there off the short shot from Will Harriman. Borkowski slings that one up to Scott. He's going to face a lot of pressure coming down the field, and he'll lose possession once again. Both teams scrumming for the ball in the middle of the field. It'll be picked up by Zimmerman, who's going to charge down the middle of the field, sling it over to Harriman. Harriman going to lose possession. Some good defense right there from Dylan Kenny to knock that one loose. And Borkowski goes out to get it, but he loses possession. Cougars without a goalie for a moment here, and the long shot from Jordan Garcia goes out of bounds.
That's a tough one there. Borkowski scrambling to retain possession for the Cougars and was kind of charged by two Raven attackers, was able to jar the ball loose and get a good shot off just wide right. A lucky break there for the Cougars.
Let's see, CUC back to full men here now. Bringing it down the near sideline is Gregory Scott. He'll sling that one to the middle to Dennis. And the Cougars an opportunity to create something with their offense. They haven't really had a long extended offensive possession yet this half. And that's something they're looking to get going here as Saba Miller looks for an opportunity on the far side. Start to bring it around the back of the net. He'll try to go around the world. That one going to be blocked. Shot from Andrew Lashuga will be blocked as well, as that one will head out of bounds. That'll be Ravens possession, but the Cougars, they get a pair of shots on goal right there. No dice on either of them, however. That one's going to be slung upfield to Jordan Garcia. And out of bounds, Garcia. Loses a bit of awareness of exactly where he is, and the Cougars will take possession back here. Greg Scott heading down the near sideline.
And that was good pressure by Scott there, kind of forcing the turnover by Garcia. Good stick pressure on the body, kind of caught him off balance, and then when he went for the pass, he stepped across the line.
Henry Hayes tried to press up, backed out. Now Lewandowski. Still looking for an opportunity on the far side. Can't find one. He'll send that one across, and that'll roll all the way out of bounds, and the Ravens will take possession back. The Cougars unable to create anything with that possession. And they'll sling it back over to Pruden to start it off here. And Pruden will bring it up a bit before he sends it back over to Dallas Hermanson. Yingst bringing it down for the Ravens, and Yingst airmails that one over the head of Kiefer, and the Cougars will take possession back. Both teams exchanging turnovers here.
Now under 4 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Cougars going to need a spark here, and they are going to need it soon.
Greg Scott carrying that one over to the far side before he sends it up to Hayes. Now Hayes, bring it into the middle, tries to get fancy with it and loses possession. It's picked up by Bryce Johnson. Cougars trying to keep up that pressure here, but the Ravens able to escape it, and they'll get it over midfield. Abram Zimmerman taking the charge on offense here. There's Rick Kaufman. Haven't said his name much in this second half so far. Now Kaufman slings it over to Zimmerman. Slings it over to Garcia. Now Kugbo on the far side, able to bring it in. Trying to create an opportunity here. Kugbo trying to charge into the middle. And that'll just be a whimper as that ball is dropped out of the net of Okugbo. Now Harriman sends it over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman tries to get a nice spin move right there, but he'll lose possession of it. It's a loose ball. And that shot is good. Jordan Garcia fires it past Borkowski. And it's now a 9-3 lead for the Anderson University Ravens.
And not much you can do there. If you're the Cougars keeper, is when you expected the defense to pick up and move downfield, but the quick turnover there led to another Raven goal, which makes it 9-3 now with just about 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter.
And a lot of it does come down to those turnovers, and what really the Ravens have dominated possession in this half so far compared to the Cougars. I mean, you start to look at those shot stats now that we're almost through the third quarter. 29 shots on goal for the Ravens, only 12 for the Cougars. The Cougars have only gotten 2 more shots on goal since halftime, and the Ravens have that number all the way up to 29. And that's really why they have this advantage. They're getting more opportunities. They're getting more shots. They're testing Borkowski more. And the Cougars' offense just isn't able to get those opportunities created.
Yeah, anytime your opponent has more shots on goal than you have total shots is not a good sign.
Now Borkowski trying to carry it out himself. He'll pass it over to Kenny. Kenny's going to lose possession right there. Another turnover for the Cougars. Shot ripped right there from Okugbo into the back of the net, and that's another goal for the Ravens. 10-3 now as the Ravens are on a roll here at the end of the third quarter.
And now this is the point of the game where you just got to buckle up if you're the Cougars and play for pride now, where you're all right. So we've had a tough third quarter here. It's a 4-0 Anderson lead in this quarter alone. So you got to take this thing to the fourth quarter, see if you can snag a couple, make this game close to finish it off.
And right there, I mean, we talked about it, those turnovers killing you, and you had Borkowski get a save just about 20, 30 seconds right before that goal, but the Cougars unable to just maintain possession as they bring it down the field, and the Ravens doing an excellent job of pressing every opportunity they get in this half. Now they'll swing it around the perimeter once again. Okugbo slings that one all the way out to Garcia. Now Garcia trying to go up the middle, and that one's going to be knocked away by Matthias. Good defense from the Cougars right there. And they'll have an opportunity to head up here. Greg Scott taking the lead, trying to look for an opportunity. Sends it into Lewandowski. And that one is going to be blocked by Pruden. Great opportunity and great creation from Greg Scott right there, but Lewandowski unable to get it past Pruden.
And, I think it's worth mentioning something we talked about pregame in the Cougars' first game against Earlham, where they were up 3-0 and then ended up losing 9-3, so a 9-0 run there from Earlham. In this game, a pretty similar start. The Cougars jumped out 2-0 in the early stages of this one, and it's been since then a 10-1 run by the Ravens here of Anderson. So similar type of game, the first game against Earlham to the second game here against Anderson for the Cougars.
They've had struggles adapting to changes that the opposing team makes throughout both of these first games this season, and it's continued through the third quarter here. As we head into the fourth quarter, it's 10-3. The Anderson University Ravens lead over the Concordia Cougars. We'll take a short break here at the Cougar Sports Network, but we'll be back for the fourth and final quarter of men's lacrosse action. And welcome back to Cougar Stadium for the fourth and final quarter of men's lacrosse action here at Concordia University, Chicago. The Cougars trail 3-10 to the Anderson University Ravens with 1 quarter to go, and the Ravens dominant in the last quarter of action, 4-0 for the Cougars in the third quarter, and they're going to look to keep that momentum going here. The Cougars, however, they're going to look to get some goals up here and maybe pull off an improbable 7-goal comeback.
Well, if they're going to do that, Jonathan, they're going to have to start quickly. They're going to have to maintain this first possession if they can win the face-off and get a good look on goal, and it looks like it'll be the Ravens winning the face-off. So far, we've had, since an early 3-3 face-off comparison, it's been Anderson 12 face-off wins to Concordia Chicago's 4, so 9 of the last 10 face-offs have gone in Anderson's favor.
But a good save from Borkowski there gives the Cougars possession, but a Cougbo off the rebound shot, no good. Secondary shot goes. Cougars defense unable to stop the rebound, and Borkowski just gets overwhelmed. And the Ravens, 30 seconds, 1 more goal for Anderson University. And that's kind of been the story of the defensive experience for Peter Borkowski so far this game. 22 saves, 68.8 save percentage up to this point in the game, which is not bad stats for a goalie. But, I mean, when you've taken 32 shots on a goal, it's going to be very, very tough to stop all of those. And, I mean, right there, you had that shot, gets a save, pass out goes awry, gets another save, the rebound goes out, and then you have to get ready to take another shot right away, and you can only stop so many shots before one finally goes in.
Yeah, I think that's tough. I'm not exactly sure what the coaching point is for Coach Button, if it's, Peter stay in the crease longer and just, make some of these passes shorter and let the the defense make the longer passes so that he's not outside the goal so long. But that's part of the way that he plays and why he's been successful over the past few years. So just interesting adjustments that we'll see from the Cougars. It's just a young team, a young defense especially, and so there will be progress made from that standpoint as the year goes on.
Shot from Rick Kaufman. Great save from Borkowski right there, but Zimmerman off the rebound. That one will go wide once again. I mean, you mentioned a young team. The surrounding defense for Borkowski is made up of a couple freshmen with minimal lacrosse experience, so that's what he's working with. Borkowski, on the other hand, like you also mentioned, one of the longer tenured lacrosse players here at Concordia. As right there, offensive opportunity is lost. Ball knocked loose from Lechuga, but Borkowski, a junior goalie for the Cougars, and one of the juniors on the Cougars team as Andrew Lechuga remains down on the field, taking his time to get up after the hit right there. But Borkowski, one of your juniors on this team, Saba Miller, those players who have been around this team for a while. And obviously the elephant in the room for those players is that they have never won a game in their time here at Concordia University, Chicago. Looking to change that, however, in the next season or two as you bring in a new regime under head coach Christopher Button. And for however rough you have to say these first two games have been for the Cougars, the attitude around this team is still positive. They believe that they have a lot of room to go upwards from where they are right now.
Absolutely, and how could you not, right? I mean, you've got a really young squad, guys that are giving a ton of effort, excited to be there. First-year coach who's had success in the past in this Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference. So, the future's bright. You just got to get through these days and kind of turn the corner and get to the other side. And so, if you're Cougar faithful out there, you are hoping that those days come sooner rather than later.
And now the Ravens will work possession down the far side of the field here. We'll continue working around the rear of the net. Goes out to Kugbo, who will take his time finding an option. Ravens working that slow around the perimeter offense again, but Zimmerman speeding it up, charging in the middle, rifles that one low and in just past the right leg of Borkowski for another goal. And the Ravens dialing up their attack here in this second half. It's a 12-3 Anderson over Concordia Chicago now. And again, just a great shot from range from Abram Zimmerman. Well placed, down low, tough to get to for the goalie right there. Face-off one once again by Kenny Bentley. Shot blocked by Borkowski right there. Harriman unable to sneak it past him short. Now Matthias, over the head shot pass goes to no one. And the Ravens will have possession once again.
I think it's worth noting, Jonathan, just to kind of give some perspective onto today's game. So Borkowski has been shot at 50 times, 35 on goal with 24 saves. And to give you some kind of reference, last year in the 2023 season, Borkowski led all goalies in the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference. First in the conference in saves per game with 16.33. So that's an average, but 16.33 was the leader in the conference, and he's got 24 today. So, an exponentially larger number than what was first in the conference last year. So it's hard to look at this performance and you can be like, wow, he gave up 12 goals, but that's not really the full story, right? I mean, 24 saves and 36 shots on goal is tough, and there's another one, and feels like the wheels are just falling off here for the Cougars at this point with still 11 minutes to go in this one, now 13-3.
But credit on that play right there to the Ravens. That was a really beautiful pass, lob up over the goal, and Getting right in there was Lars Kiefer to spike that one in. Borkowski unable to turn around in time. But, yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of this is just volume of shots. As a goalie, you can only block so many. I mean, you go over to the other side, and Spencer Pruden has only faced 12 shots on goal to Borkowski's 36. 3 times the shots faced for Borkowski. And mentally, that can drain on you as a goalie. You're constantly taking shots. You're giving up so many shots. But Borkowski's done a very good job of staying mentally tough over these last couple years with the Cougars. As the Cougars offensive possession here once again, Scott rips that one wide left of the net.
I wish we had a specific number of time of possession here for both teams. It feels like in the roughly 49 minutes played here, it would be close to, 35 minutes in the Ravens' possession. And, that's part of the volume, too, is just Cougars been unable to control and possess the ball offensively using short clock almost every possession, up to 23 turnovers in this game as well. So, kind of the opposite of what we've seen here from Anderson so far this afternoon. Very content offensively.
And that was a big thing. Early on in this game, both defenses seem to be playing about even, but then you get to that point where the Cougars are on defense almost constantly and eventually are going to start cracking more and more and more. And Anderson's been able to exploit that very well here in this second half. They continue to work it around the perimeter. Here comes Bentley charging up the middle. Lays that one off to Harriman. Shot blocked. Rebound shot blocked once again. Borkowski, some good defense on the goal now. And the Cougars are going to have an opportunity to carry that one up the field on offense. Matthias forced to just throw it away. Now Bratcher looking for an opportunity here. And that's another big thing that the Cougars have struggled with too, is whenever they do successfully defend the goal and they get a defensive possession, they haven't been able to get it over to the offensive half, whether it's a wayward pass or a ball knocked loose of the stick. And that's a huge part of this game, is being able to actually use your successfully defended possessions. Garcia sling that one over to Rick Kaufman, who's had a relatively quiet day here for the Ravens. Back over to Garcia, over to Zimmerman. Now Zimmerman's charging up the middle of the field. He rips that one into the net, and Abram Zimmerman gets it up once more, extending the lead for the Ravens to 14-3, alongside a flag on one of the Cougars, it appeared. And it looks like that flag's going to be on Louis Mobley, his second penalty of the day, and he'll take a trip to the box. Bit of a frustration penalty there for the Cougars once again. And coming off of a goal, they'll also be playing down a man.
So just to run through some stats here for Anderson so far today, it's been Okugbo with 10 shots, 3 goals. Harriman, 12 shots, 2 goals. Kaufman, 7 shots, 2 goals. Bentley, 6 shots, 2 goals. Kiefer, 6 shots, 1 goal and 1 assist. Zimmerman, 11 shots, 3 goals. Garcia, 4 shots, 1 goal. For the Cougars, it is Miller, 3 shots, 1 goal. Lewandowski, 3 shots, 1 goal. Hayes, 4 shots. Lechuga, 3 shots, Dennis, 1 shot, 1 assist. And then Scott, 8 shots, 1 goal.
And a big one to note there is Rick Kaufman, 2 goals, 7 shots. He's the star. He was the star player of this Anderson team coming into the game, and we have seen just how good he can be when he has an opportunity to do something with the ball. But the Cougars able to limit him very well today. The problem is limiting the production from other players on this roster, as right there, Will Harriman spikes the shot through the legs of Borkowski, and that'll be another goal for the Ravens. It's now 15-3 in favor of this team from Indiana.
Yeah, and sometimes that's not even a indication of Kaufman's day, just a indication of how well the Ravens have played together as a team, and so they didn't necessarily need a outstanding performance from Kaufman today because the rest of the squad was able to get it done. And as I was just reading through those statistics, you can tell very clearly it's been a even game offensively. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different players that have scored a goal in this one for the Ravens.
Yeah, and for the Ravens, this is a great sign for them. In their first win of the season, you had a dominant performance from Rick Kaufman. And then your next game, you get blown out 14-0. You have to kind of start worrying, is all our offense going to come from Rick Kaufman? Abram Zimmerman right there showing that no, it is not, as he'll spike that one past Peter Borkowski, picking up another goal for the Ravens. Now 16-3 in favor of Anderson University, as there's another flag out on the field, and it appears as though it will be against the Cougars once again.
Looks like it's actually going to go on the Ravens.
Yep, Abram Zimmerman, actually the man who just scores the goal, he'll be taking a knee in the box. So likely a bit of an excessive celebration from Zimmerman right there. But, with the tear that the Ravens have gone on, they have the freedom to do that. They have absolutely been lighting it up here in this fourth quarter. 6 goals in just 8 minutes for Anderson University. So the Cougars going to have an extra man here to start off this possession. And Greg Scott will rifle a shot right at Spencer Pruden, who picks it up out of the air. And the Ravens, they'll get possession right back to start off this play.
And that was another kind of less than 10-second possession for the Cougars. Really only one man to touch it.
Now here's Henry Hayes picking it up, trying to create something here, trying to force his way in, and he'll be knocked down. It's advantage Cougars. And finally a whistle will be blown. It appears that penalty will go against Anderson University. So Concordia University, another extra man opportunity on offense, but like you said, that 10-second possession from Greg Scott, and it's something you have to be aware of on offense is, yes, you may have that open shot from right in front of the goal from far out, and maybe it is just you against one defender and the keeper, but at some point you have to tell yourself, is this the shot I should take? Should I take some more time off the clock, try and wait to create a better opportunity? That's what Anderson has been doing today, and it's worked very well for the Ravens, and at some point the Cougars, you start to get a bit desperate, start to try and rush those opportunities, and it's hurt Concordia University here today with having minimal possession here in the second half.
Well, and I think the flip side of that too is just being able to maintain possession and run that clock down helps your defense out. It gets them off their heels a little bit, allows them to catch their breath. It allows Borkowski to catch his breath and relax a little bit after being peppered with 42 shots on goal today. So even just, taking it a good few times around the world here and letting that clock run a little bit, get it close to 5 minutes if you can, and then maybe get that same type of shot off with 10 seconds left on the play clock, or the shot clock, instead of 10 seconds off of it.
Good offense from the Cougars right there, but shot from Sava Miller goes wide left. So the Cougars will have to restart possession on the play here. 60 seconds on the shot clock now. And Henry Hayes will drive the offense from the top here. Looking for a way in. Now looking for a pass. He'll send it over to Greg Scott, who will send it back to Brady Dennis. And Dennis swinging around the back of the net. Pass not received cleanly by Saba Miller, and that's another turnover picked up by the Ravens. They'll charge down the field here, trying to press that advantage, and now Rick Kaufman will slow it up, allow the rest of the flock to catch up with him. Shot off right there from Kiefer is weak. There'll be a reset of possession here for the Ravens behind the net. Garcia trying to find an opening here, sends it over to Harriman. To Kugbo, to Zimmerman. Zimmerman loses the ball on his backswing for that shot. And Cougars defense able to take possession there. Hayes sends that one up to Gerber. And Gerber going to charge up the field right here, trying to press the breakaway advantage for CUC. Miller shot, good save from Spencer Pruden right there to kill the Cougars' possession. Ravens now on the attack once more. Good defense right there from Matthias to knock that one away from Zimmerman. Now Greg Scott will carry it down the field here. Once again on a breakaway, sends it in to Dennis, who loses it on the overswing for the shot. Unable to cleanly get the shot off, and the Ravens will take possession back once again. Pass goes long. Miller trying to pick up that one. He'll let it go out of bounds. That'll be a Cougar possession now. So the Cougars getting some offensive opportunity late here. Dennis rips that one, spikes at the feet of Pruden. Pruden unable to secure it. Now Lewandowski trying to find a way in. Instead, he'll pass it back to Scott. And the official stops play to reset the shot clock. Now resume on the near side with Scott. Swings it over to Hayes. Swings it over to Gerber, who just returned to the game. Miller trying to set a pick, give Gerber some room. Gerber rips a shot, deflected by Pruden. And that will be Cougar possession on the back line. Dennis sends it over to Miller. Miller trying to find a way in. Shot blocked by Pruden. Loose ball right in front of the goal. Still a loose ball. Finally, whistle blown. They'll send possession the way of the Ravens, as Pruden was able to get on top of it. And the Cougars, some good opportunities created on that possession. Unable to do anything with it, however. Still 16-3 with 2 minutes to go.
It's probably some of the best action we've seen by the Cougars, the longest they've ever been able to retain possession here in this second half at least. A couple good looks, a couple resets of the shot clock, and in the end it appears as if that official came in yelling crease. So we're under 2 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. It's 16-3 in favor of the Ravens, 40 seconds on the shot clock.
And another save from Borkowski right there. And as you bring this game to a close, good interception right there from Zimmerman. Trying to secure possession of it. Borkowski able to secure the loose ball. But as we bring this game to a close, we'll run through a couple of those stats for both teams. Borkowski at 26 saves with 16 goals allowed. As Miller tries to get in to get a shot off here. And speaking of shots from Saba Miller, 6 shots today for the junior, 1 goal scored. Over on Anderson's side, however, it's been a lot of offensive production. They got a trio of players with some hat tricks. Will Harriman, Robert Akugbo, and Abram Zimmerman all picking up a hattie, along with Rick Kaufman and Kenny Bentley picking up a pair of goals each. And Lars Kiefer picking up a solitary goal on the day alongside Jordan Garcia. The Cougars, Saba Miller, Zachary Lewandowski, and Greg Scott, all a goal apiece with a minute to go. The Cougars looking to maybe pick up one last goal to end the game on a high note. And that pass from Miller to start the possession will go long. Matthias going to knock it forward to Lewandowski back at midfield. Now Lewandowski trying to bring something along the side here. Possession knocked away. Dennis trying to chase it down on the far side. Unable to secure possession, and now the Ravens pick it up and kill the Cougars' offensive opportunity. As here comes Hermanson. And Dallas Hermanson spikes that one in off the top crossbar. That's another goal for the Ravens, 17-3 on the day as Dallas Hermanson picks up his first goal of the season. Going coast to coast right there for the defender. And this Cougars defense just unable to withstand the attack from Anderson as this game went on. Anderson, 43 shots on goal at this point of the game, which is a great number for them. The Cougars only 17 shots put on the goal here for Concordia University, which is not the number you want to have, especially when your opponent has numbers like Anderson. But a good day in the net for Spencer Pruden. 14 saves, only 3 goals allowed, and 824 save percentage for Pruden. And he picks up another one right there as we get down to 15 seconds to go here. And that pass out will roll around a bit. And we'll finish the game with a bit of a reception on a loose ball as the clock expires. And that'll do it. Anderson University takes down the Concordia University Chicago Cougars 16-3 here on Saturday. The Cougars got out to an early 2-0 lead, but unable to hold it there. And the Ravens just taking over in the second half. But that'll do it here out at Cougar Stadium. The Cougars fall 3-17 to the Ravens. Their next time out will be February 28th at Cornell College, going on the road for the first time this season. That'll do it. Once again, I'm Jonathan Shear. Joining me today was Troy Prattley. And come back on Cougar Sports Networks to join me and Troy once again at 3 o'clock for some Cougar men's volleyball.
Into today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.